So I'm going to describe my recent UFO sighting that I saw in the Vancouver, Canada area on November 24th, 2020. My window, which I viewed it from, faces southeast, and what I see outside my window is a ravine filled with tall, 700 feet tall trees, maybe 500 feet, I don't know, just big trees way above me. I'm on the 3rd floor, so I'm under, like, for example, right in front of me is a tall tree that's, I see the top of it at the top of my window, and to the right of that tree is a big open space of sky that there's no trees. And this is where I saw the sighting. To the right of that is the edge of my building. So there was just a small view of the sky that I saw this entire vast viewing. Now I'm going to draw it with a piece of chalk. So, first of all, here's my window, okay? And this is the upper half of the window. And this is all trees. Okay, so here's a big tall tree. There's a big tall tree, right? So I can see the tall tree, and above it, I can see above it. And then the building sort of, there's a building edge here. So here's where I saw the sighting, okay? Now, the moon was rising, and it was a 3/4 moon, something like that, okay? Very bright. The sky was pitch black with white misty clouds covering the moon, and then the moon would be open. Covering the moon, and the moon would be open. And it started out with, have studied Dharma and physics together to try to understand, naturally as anyone would want, what this universe is all about. I have another window over here that's it's kind of like a corner, okay, and then there's an angle here, and this is all open to trees. Beautiful view. I'm very, very lucky to have this beautiful view. And then down below, 3 levels below, it's like a beautiful little walkway with lights, bears that come out, you know, from the trees. You know, these are all trees over here. Trees over here. It's a big ravine. There's a street out here, but you can't see it because of the trees. Now, I'm going to zoom in on this area, and I'm going to show you what I actually saw in detail. So here is that tree, that big tree, okay? Just going to simplify it. It's more like this, you know, it's a pine tree, but, and then there's just a little tree over here. Some branches, you know, clear sky. So it seemed that the sky had parted, the clouds had parted, and the moon was now right in the sky, okay? And perceptually it seemed very large, you know, very bright. There was one planet over here. The reason I say planet is because there was nothing else visible. No other stars, so why would there be one star? So it looked like a planet, and it was kind of, you know, sometimes there was a halo around the moon because of the misty sky, misty, the normal misty clouds that would drift in and out. But at this moment, the moon was completely, you know, there might have been some mist around it, but it was completely blank. And I tell you this because it makes the story more relevant for me personally, that I was looking at the moon, knowing that this was my way to communicate to the sun, if I would ever want to communicate with the sun. For example, if I wanted to send gratitude to the sun, love to the sun, just like I would send gratitude and love to all the human beings on earth, or to my cat, or to a loved one, or to an enemy that I want to send love to. You know, it's an act that you do, like if you don't do Dharma studying Buddhism, I'll just explain that one of the things we do is when we meditate, there's something called compassion meditation, or taking in the suffering of others, or there's many, many, many different meditations, and each one is aimed at training your mind to see things in a more beneficial, more healthy, more loving way. And part of that training, I was kind of like, I want to give thanks to the sun, but I never see the sun in Vancouver. It's always cloudy, but look at the moon. I can see the sun clearly in the moon because those are the sun's rays coming back to me. And so I thought, I'm going to send love to the moon and the sun. And even if I don't know whether there's beings that live there, it seems feasible to me that there are intelligences that live both on the moon and the sun. And because I believe that there's intelligences at every level of our mass-based universe, and even in the light, but specifically in the mass, because mass slows down long enough to store information, but that's a whole nother physics discourse. Now, so I'm standing there at 6:30 sending love vibes to the moon. I feel that it's two-way. And I know that it's two-way, and I'm sensing that it's two-way, and I'm just sending the gratitude, and I've been practicing a new type of meditation to where I connect me to the ether around me and then to the ether within me. So it becomes almost like a spiral. I'm in the middle of the spiral, and I send love outward and inward. So I was doing that meditation, and it's a personal meditation. I plan to teach it someday, but I'm not quite ready to teach it yet. I want to do it first for a few years. So I'm sitting that, and I'm feeling Shiva, Brahman, the Holy Spirit flowing through me both directions. And it's a very wonderful feeling. It's just like rapturous feeling of gratitude. Everybody's felt that way before. You get this most fantastic gift from someone you love, and you're just amazed that they got you this gift, or whatever works for you. But the gift was life. I was being very thankful that I was part of it. I was kind of, the same time that I was loving the moon, I was asking for guidance. How do I help my fellow, cohabitants of Earth the best way I can? All right, so that's the background. Now, as I was looking at the moon, appreciating it, thanking it, feeling love, like as I was sending these strong vibes to the moon, it slowly faded like a movie fade. It wasn't a cloud that went over the sky. It was just like it was a uniform deposition of color density atop of the moon, to where what I saw, now that I'm clarifying it, was the clear moon, a slight mist, a little bit more, and in the period of 15 seconds of sending love to it faded out, and then now it's just all cloud cover, completely opaque. And I'm not going to say it was black, because the sky was black. This was more of a gray color. Very uniform. Key thing. Most clouds have a little darkness and lightness, but this was very uniform. And I felt like it was waving goodbye to me, saying, okay, enough, we got your message, now we're going to go. And I was like, okay, goodbye, moon. And so now the moon is covered. And I'm writing and typing at my computer and checking for the moon to come out, because I'm just really experiencing a nice night with the sky. And then I see two clouds start to part. And what it is sort of like, okay, so there's all this darkness, and then I see a little line forming, and then it moves down. Okay, so here's the direction of how it moves. Okay, so first I see nothing, then when it moves here, I see this part of the moon, right? And then when the cloud moves further down, I see the part of the moon that's remaining, of course, because it's a 3/4 moon. And then as this cloud moves down, I continue to see all of the moon. So now we're going to show you the parting of the sky. And here's the moon, okay? View 1. View 2 is this cloud is moving downward, okay? And that's view 2. And then this cloud is moving downward some more. And this is view 3. And as it moves downward more, I'm seeing all of a sudden a big boxy something, okay? And as soon as I look up, I'll draw you in detail what I saw. Something like this. It was 2 diameters of the moon, so something like this, okay? With a red light, a red light, a red light, and a red light. And there might have been some panel lines in there, and there might have been a couple more lights in here, and there might have been a line here, but what I do know was that this is what I saw, and there might have been some other lines, okay? So I'm just going to do kind of a question mark about those other lines, because again, this was slate gray, this was black, this was bright white, and then these were a darker gray. You know, these are the clouds, sort of misty clouds. The edges are sort of misty, like evaporating somethingness, you know? Okay? And this slowly disappeared into the upper cloud as this ascended further down, okay? So the last little thing I saw was it disappear into that upper cloud. And I hope this has been somewhat clear. So in summary, if I were to make one picture of what I saw, okay? This is a tree. This is the moon, the star, the upper cloud, and the lower cloud. And I saw something like this disappearing into, and this is black, this is gray, this is gray, and this is a different shade of gray. And then these are red. And this is the moon, star. Okay, so we've got your star, we've got our moon, we've got our craft, we've got our 2 clouds, our 2 cloaking clouds, and our black sky, perfectly black sky. There's other trees over here. Okay, so this is all black. And then when this did disappear behind this upper gray cloud, the upper gray cloud stayed for at least 5 minutes. And this cloud, which was up here and then was down here to reveal the rear end of the spaceship go into it, this cloud continued to slowly move down. And as it moved down, it didn't just move down, but it sort of, in the same way that before earlier, remember when I was saying that the moon faded away because it was just like a cloud sort of just like materialized over it? This seemed to dematerialize all over. You know, the edges would sort of, you know, vanish, you know, like kind of like evaporating water off of the surface of a coffee cup, you know, that smoke coming up, sort of like that, but it would also disappear. Like your coffee cup, the level stays the same. But in this case, the edge was dissipating, kind of like a vapor, and then this sort of just all disappeared together. So my take on this is that cloaking device, anti-gravity craft coming out of the hidden holes of our Earth, or maybe inside some of those big apartment buildings going up everywhere. There's probably 10 to 12 around the region that have been going up this year, with lots of building noises and stuff. This is not the only time I've seen these strange clouds that don't look like clouds to me, the scientific mind. They look like fake, non-natural cloaking shields. And now when I look in the sky, I'm always looking for odd clouds, because I've probably seen these strange clouds maybe half a dozen times. One time in particular was really weird. Okay, so I hope I've explained this, and I'm going to now do a cartoon of this. in color. I'll just do it on my, that's the MUFON report number, 112430. And I think I put 640. I think I told you 645, and now I'm the MUFON report, I put 640, because I think that's a more accurate number. Hello, Crow. The Crow seems to have approved my talk. Now I'm going to do a cartoon of what I saw. Okay? I think I can do it into panels like this. So there's my tree on every single panel. And then the moon. Okay? So it's all covered. And then I sort of see the sky parting. I see this lower cloud. Okay, the upper cloud seems to stay, so I'll go ahead and draw that for all of these. And the lower cloud sort of slowly descends and then sort of just disintegrates into nothingness. And at this point I see sort of a boxy thing approaching with angles and lights, and as it splits apart I see this very large boxy sort of thing that just is quite large and angular, like a building or something, or, you know, red lights, and then it does sort of just vanish into the building, and then it's gone, and then this stayed for a while, and this dissipated. Now I will color it with some colors. First, I'm going to do the red lights. Red lights. There's at least 4, if not 6, red lights. Yeah, that's it. And this one had some lights. Okay, I always saw the red lights with that. And then the color of the thingy was just a gray sort of panels, sort of square. I keep saying square because it was so clearly human-made looking, you know, like humans build squares. I think aliens build orbs and humans build squares. Alright. And as this, now I'm going to do the moon. Okay, so the moon's starting to peak. There's the moon. There's the moon. There's the moon. And all the time I'm doing this, I'm thinking, the moon is winking at me. The moon gave me a sighting because I had just sent love to the moon. And, of course, I didn't ask to see a UFO, obviously. I just did see a UFO. And the blue depicts the black sky, because that is all I have in terms of colors. So the blue is here. Actually, I am an artist, it's just that I'm an impatient artist. This is the blue. My art is very fast. And then there. And then we've got our black sky again, that big black cloud. Okay. Alright. Now we want to outline this a bit more because it was very distinctive. It was very visible. It was very real, tangible. It was a mile away, but it was so big, so big. It was like a building, you know, like a building. I thought quite a long time about how big it had to have been. And this was, for example, my eye. Horizontal and up, it was about 10 to 15 degrees from the horizon. So here's straight out, and then you raise it up a little bit. So my head was tilted up. I remember that, okay, so I'm one of these people who, when I look up at the sky, if I look up too long, I'll have a sore neck the next day. So I know this about myself. So I remember when I was looking up there, I was holding my head up. So my chin was tilted up in order to see this. You know, where my eyes weren't straining. My eyes were comfortably looking straight ahead, but I had my head tilted back as I watched it standing up out of my window with the window wide open, no screen, no curtain, just air, me, and the moon, you know? And this is what I saw. And so, the MUFON number, I will write it down. Well, here, this was the very first picture I drew right after I saw it. Let's see, right here. So there's the first one I drew right after I saw it. So this has maybe a bit more accurate, where there's the cloud at the top. It was actually a bit bigger, you know, kind of went behind the building. And then this is the cloud as it descended and then went away. And this would have been the size of an airplane, like a close by prop plane if it had been close. And I was just drawing it in my mind so that I could get an idea that this, how big this was. And I know it was at least 2 diameters of the moon, because I held a pin up to my hand and, you know, like this, and then went, oh my goodness, it's twice that. So 15 degrees in the sky and twice the diameter of the moon, at least. Maybe 2.5 times the diameter of the moon. When I say I saw another UFO, because I saw a first one in 1969 with my dad in Guanajuato. That one looked more like a big giant white orb with red and green lights going around it, and many, many other people saw that. It was in the newspapers. But this one was more of a black, heavy-looking craft, and it had to have been some kind of anti-gravity, and it was moving very slowly. So when you have anti-gravity, you can't really go fast. So how do you move those things around without getting caught? You cloak it. So I believe this is a U.S. or China or Russian, probably Canadian, because we're in Canada, right? Some kind of a cooperation with maybe underground, you know? Something's going on. And yes, I'm a little scared, but the thing is, nothing I can do about it, right? So God grant me the serenity to know the things that I can change, and courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference, and wisdom to know what I can't change. 112430, 112430, 1124 2020, MUFON number. Okay. And then a few hours later, I had drawn, yep, so that's the first drawing I did. The second drawing I did was sort of a summary. Wait a minute, this is an aside. Okay, this is the second drawing I did. And again, I'm drawing it, guessing that it might be pointed at the front, but I don't know. But I did see the rear end, okay? And I saw a substantial part of it. In other words, what I saw, the length to width ratio was about 1, okay? So let's just go ahead and say that here. That when I saw the biggest part of it, the length, I'll have to redraw the cloud, because I know I saw the length to diameter ratio of what I saw was 1 to 1. It was squarish. Squarish with this part covered and this part exposed with the 4 to 6 lights in a trapezoidal / squarish pattern. Now, you know, if you have a square and you tilt it, you're going to get a trapezoid from the 3D view, right? So it could have been what I was seeing in terms of the trapezoidal shape. And that is my sighting. Thank you for letting me share that with you. I will now wish you well, and if you see a sighting, you should go to MUFON too and report it. I was disappointed when I went on to MUFON to find that there weren't all that many other sightings in Maple Ridge, and the ones that were there were from 1 or 2 years ago. The only ones this year were what I think were Elon Musk's 10 satellites that were in the light. This wasn't lights in the sky. This was clearly object in the sky, and it was clearly silent. Just want to say that I have a fan, a window fan, which was on low. I'm going to turn it on low now so you can hear what the only noise that I could hear was this fan. And now I'm going to open the window. And that's just the ambient air sound outside. Well, it's raining now. It wasn't raining when this happened. It was just cloudy. But now it's sort of raining. So you hear a little bit of rain, but it was relatively quiet. You couldn't hear, like, for example, you couldn't hear cars or sirens or voices. Just a slow hum of the fan. And the fan is to my left. The open window where I was viewing it is about a meter to the right of where the fan was. I will now show you the fan. Just to be clear. Here's the window where I saw it. And I saw it right. Okay, let's see here. Where's my finger? I want to get my finger in there. Okay, so I saw it about right here. Right there. Okay. So there's a big cloud up here. The upper cloud where it disappeared into. And the viewing was right about here. That's where I saw the big craft. This big. This big. Yeah, okay. So here is the window fan. Let's see if you can see it. There's the window fan. Okay. My power cord won't reach. Let's see if I can pull it. Okay. There's the window fan. Okay. And then there's the outside view over there. Just trees, right? And then here's down below. See? Okay. And we've got our ravine out there with the side of the apartment building to the right. This is my window, and there's like a wall right there with the dryers. The next door neighbor has that unit. And yeah, so that's where I saw it, right up here. Okay, I think I've documented this pretty well, so peace everybody.